Alright everybody, welcome back to the lathe. As promised, we're going to be chambering that barrel we just fit into our slide. So we've got that barrel taken out, and you probably remember seeing the spider fixture from when we fit the barrel bushing, and how I used that to get the barrel bushing all fit in. Same kind of principle. This is a spider jig. It's just got adjustment screws on either end of the barrel. I skipped the boring part of getting indicated, but basically you have an indicator rod that sticks out about that far, and you put some indicators on it, and you use the adjustment screws to get the bore running perfectly true before we stick a chamber reamer in it. So we're all set up right now. I'll just kind of talk about the setup briefly for those of you that are interested in chambering and what goes into it. Most of the time you wouldn't see any setup like this for a pistol barrel, but this is how I do my my pistol barrels. So Schumann barrels come short chambered like this. This is a KKM barrel, so KKM barrels come short chambered like this. I think you can get an option with Barstow barrels where they'll come short chambered and you got to finish them off. And there's probably a couple other barrels out there that I just haven't never worked with that are like that too. Most of the really big, I don't want to call them box store brands, but you know what I'm talking about. The really common brands out there that most people get. Those are all pre-chambered. You really don't have to worry about it except for just kind of verifying. So just kind of show you guys, got a dummy round here. It is a dummy round, doesn't have a primer in it. Whoop. Don't do that. Don't use an empty case for this. You use a loaded, a dummy round. You can use a live round if you want. There's you'd have to try really hard to set that thing off. But there is a difference, a dimensional difference between a round that has a projectile loaded into it and one that doesn't. So we've got about that far to go. It kind of, even if I jam it in there, that's all it goes. But yeah, we got the chamber reamer all set up. We're using a Pacific Tool Engage chamber reamer and a Manson floating reamer holder. This is indicated in about 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch of running or 10 thousandths, 2 to 3 10,000ths of an inch. I'm sorry. Of running perfectly true. Floating reamer holder allows the chamber reamer to float, if you will, in 3 different axes, all 3 axes. Okay, so this thing can tip around a little bit, and it can move around to compensate for any misalignment. So you can kind of see it just kind of barely wiggling. So we got the lathe in the lowest gears it'll go. We'll kind of shove a bunch of cutting oil on there. And when I do this, if you guys are doing this too, or just kind of interested in it, I always take my case and put it up against my reamer where the case mouth portion of the reamer is, and I go to the back and I scribe a line, a Sharpie marker line around my reamer. That way I know not to go too far by accident. So I'll get up close to my line, and then I'll start just kind of doing fine-tuning tweaks here and there. So this should be interesting. With the tripod is currently standing normally where I stand, but let's do this. So not going very fast, only 70 RPM. High-speed steel chamber reamer does not need to be going, barrel does not need to be going 800 RPMs to do this. And we're just very, very slowly inserting the reamer. I want to make sure that front portion, which rides in the bore, centers up properly before I let go of this thing. And I can just kind of barely feel it. There we go. So the front part of the reamer is riding down the bore, and I am just slowing up. I can feel it cutting, and you see my hand on the reamer holder. I'm just putting my fingers there so I can feel what's going on. I'm not trying to control the reamer at all. I'm just there to feel. Make sure nothing happens that, you know, if the reamer catches or something, I want to be able to feel it. So right there, I'm going to stop. I'm going to back it all the way out. And we're going to clear chips so you guys can see. I don't know what you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see all the chips on there now. And gotta brush those off, and we'll blow this all out with air here in just a second. Eyes. You can do this by hand too. The backs of these chamber reamers usually have a square end, and you can put them in a tap handle if you have a good tap handle. What I suggest, you know, what I recommend per se doing it by hand like that, well, if you're really good. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, you guys can see how far it's going in now, but it's still sticking proud. Yeah, a little over 1/4 inch maybe. So we got a little over 1/4 inch to go. That's why you're careful, folks. So you don't stick your fingers in there. All right. Touch. So now I'm just watching the end of the barrel hood and my Sharpie marker line. I'm just going to get up right next to it very slowly. Now we'll back it out. Man, I was about to go turn that thing off. Okay, so we are just about there. We have just maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little less. I could take the measurement if I wanted. We're not exactly chambering a Remington 700 here, but you can basically do the same thing to figure out how much more you got to go. I'll just take this measurement right here. That's it. 75, 70, 67 thou. About 67 thousandths just over the width of the rim. So depth gauge says 67 thousandths of an inch. Need a bit more to go. Plenty of oil. And this time I'm actually going to insert it a little bit more. Lock the tailstock down. I'm running out of tailstock there. Okay, so right now the end of my barrel head is running right through my Sharpie line. It should be getting pretty darn close. And remember, all we're looking for is for this guy to sit flush, and oh man, we are almost there. Oh, half the width of the rim. Half the width of the rim. Now, if you're going to do this, every time you pull this reamer out, you need to get all the chips off it. Because you do not want to put chips back into the chamber. That's very not good, and I'm probably messing you guys all up right now. But I gotta blow this thing off, so I apologize. Okay. Relube, and let's go. Watching that edge of that barrel hood come around on my Sharpie line. I call that it right there. Okay. Compressor off. Oh man, it's got like just a couple thousandths, but we gotta do it. All right. Sorry if I'm getting all up in your guys' face. But that's the best camera angle for the action. And it just happens to be right where my head's going to be half the dang time. Alright, last little bit here. Just feel it cutting right there. That's okay if it's a little below flush. That's fine. You just don't want it like way below flush. Then you're The round's going to be swimming in there a little bit. So that should be it right there. Oh man. Man, I'm blowing stuff everywhere. Just barely. Just less than 10 thousandths for sure. Everything's clean. I can feel it cutting. And we just need like a whisper. So this last portion sometimes takes a few tries when you're trying to get it just right. And I don't mind it at all as long as I get the product that I'm looking for at the end of the day. That's almost going to do it. One more. Just need to touch it. Throwing stuff everywhere now. Just need to kiss it. Camera must have gotten bored. So the chamber is it's finished now. The round doesn't wiggle around in there, so it's good and tight, which means we were nice and properly aligned. The floating reamer holder did its job, and it picked up any misalignment. The back of the round sits just below flush, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal. It gives us a hair of room for the difference in manufacturers. For the case mouth length. If you guys don't know, straight wall pistol cartridges headspace on the case mouth. Auto cartridges do. Revolver cartridges, rimmed revolver cartridges, headspace on the rim, but rimless auto cartridges, headspace on the case mouth. So there it is. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to get it cleaned up, and we're going to put it back in the gun, and we're going to see it cycle a little bit, and we'll see how the chamber works out. It should be just fine, and then the only thing left to do from here is go to the range and shoot the dang thing. So I'll see you back on the bench in just a little bit. Okay, back at the bench, and as you can see, we got the barrel back in the gun. And I got some dummy rounds loaded up into a magazine. Now, these are all different lengths. So when I do dummy round testing, I'll make them short, I'll make them long. For a 40 Smith & Wesson 2011, I want to load them all like 1.8, being the longest, and then go all the way down to like, 1.18. And then go all the way down to like a factory 1.125, and all in between. So in there, and oh, there's one. And there we go, and lock back on empty. So there you have it. couple other little tests that I like to do that you can do. One is load from slide stop, or from slide release, meaning you have a locked slide. It's called load from slide lock. You know, from a locked open slide, just hit the slide release, and that's usually a pretty good test right there. If it loads doing that, you're going to load on a slingshot. But I always do want to load from a slingshot as well. So we got that. And then just take it through all of them, you know. And it's not racking it super hard. That is the test for the gun. It's actually going nice and slow. So you want to go nice and slow and feel if anything's going to hang up in there. And just let the slide do it on its own power instead of any sort of slingshot. You know, I wasn't really worried about this gun not chambering. KKM barrels are really nice barrels. You just got to clean up the chamber to get it to depth, and the rest is history. KKM barrels come with polished feed ramps already, so I didn't even have to polish that. I just took off the sharp corners and the burrs around the barrel hood from fitting it and from chambering it. But I just wanted to kind of put this barrel in there and do this for you guys, because on the other 1911 build, you know, we didn't have to fit the barrel hood on that gun. So this was just a way for me to kind of explain that process to you guys. And you know, this is going to be a really nice shooting gun. I can already tell. But you never know. It might be absolutely terrible. I seriously doubt it though, and I think you guys doubt it too. But yeah, the gun is super tight. You know, the no wiggle. You know, muzzle's not moving up here. We got that fit perfectly. You guys saw us cut the barrel hood. The barrel hood is nice and rock solid in there. The lower lugs, we did have a little bit of problem with there because I made some assumptions. So remember, never assume. Trust but verify. Always take proper measurements. But we got that all squared away. And upper lug engagement needed a little bit of fitting. I showed you guys that, and that was nice and simple with the file. And now the gun fits in there great. And the only thing we got to do is take it to the range and see how it shoots. So I don't know if I'll take you guys to the range with me or not. We'll have to see what I decide to do. But either way, I'll show you guys a target or something. To show you guys can chamber your own barrels and do full match fitting yourself and end up being, you know, very successful. This is my competition gun for USPSA limited 10. Yeah, I know, limited 10. I'm in California, okay, so just you know, bear with me, all right. I do what I can. So I shoot limited 10 with this guy, and this thing, if you're wondering, yeah, it's a PT Evo grip. This thing weighs like 53 ounces or something like that unloaded, so it's a beast. But man, it shoots like it shoots really nice. I'll talk USPSA for 2 hours if you let me. So thanks for coming along. I hope you guys enjoyed that. This will you're probably not going to see this gun except for maybe when we talk about targets or when you see me shooting it at the range. Back to the Commander build. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. So coming up next, we're going to be finishing up the feed ramps. So fitting the feed ramp to the frame, fixing any upper lug engagement issues or alignment issues with that 9mm barrel into actually this slide right here. The link, link and everything you saw us do with this. I may not show that with the Commander build simply because we already did it with this one. You guys already saw that, but you know, who knows? Maybe you know, I'll probably end up throwing that in there too. But yeah, so we're gonna finish getting the barrel and everything into the frame. We're gonna talk different types of feed ramps. And how to fit for different types of feed ramps, because there's three main types of feed ramps. So we're going to get into that, and then episode after that we're going to start cutting this guy. and putting some cool cuts on it. We're going to do a tri-top, got to get the sights cut into it. Some cool serrations, maybe a couple holes in there somewhere. I don't know. We'll do some serrations on top and everything. We'll make it look all classy. So stick around and stay tuned, and give it us a subscribe if you want to see when the next ones come out. And I'll see you guys next time.